Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60, and today's episode is mainly going to be focusing on getting flex fuel working on my vehicle. But before I do that, I want to give you an update on my big brake kit, because that's what I was hoping to be filming today. Now I need to show you something, because the tracking number that the brake kit manufacturer gave me came up yesterday and said it was going to be delivered yesterday, and I've deleted the email, but I actually got a notification saying it was delivered. Now I got that notification when I was out filming yesterday, and I was like super excited to get back and check out the big brake kit. Got home, spoke with Dave, and Dave's like, no, there's no brakes here. And I was like, oh shit. So they've been delivered to the wrong place. Started to have a bit of a freak out. Turns out the tracking number that the manufacturer sent me wasn't for my kit. So somebody locally has actually ordered a very similar brake kit. Got the correct tracking number for mine, and I've closed it now, but basically it should be here tomorrow. The brakes are currently in Sydney, so hopefully we'll get them tomorrow. Fingers tightly crossed. Bit of a dick around, bit of a pain in the ass, but I guess that's why this company's called what they're called. So anyway, on to today's video with the flex fuel. So my car's a bit of a weird setup. I'm running a JB4 with the Fuelit Flex, well, the Fuelit ethanol analyzer. That runs straight into the JB4, and that's how I can get an ethanol reading on the JB4, which you may have seen in any previous videos. Super easy setup, but it doesn't really do anything other than just visually confirm for me what fuel I've got in the fuel tank. Now I want to get it set up on proper flex fuel, so I don't need to worry about mixing. I can, if I'm not thrashing the car, I can go and put 98 in it, do a long drive, and not need to touch anything. It's brilliant. That's what flex fuel's really about. I guess I should probably touch on as well, there's a lot of guys I've seen that have done flex fuel videos on the Beamers, and all they've really installed is an ethanol content analyzer. It's not proper flex fuel. Real flex fuel will actually automatically adapt the DME, ignition tables, and fuel scalers, I guess, so that when you, depending on the amount of ethanol you've got in the tank, it will run a different ignition targets, and also different amounts of fuel. Although E85 makes brilliant power, it does require more fuel to do it, so that's why you need to have that adjustment. If you ran the same level of fuel on, well, the same volume of fuel on 98 versus E85, you would end up with errors on the DME. And you just won't hit your AFR targets. So we need to get it to automatically do that conversion for us. Now, somebody, I can't remember his username, I think it was Jamonia. I'm really sorry, I've probably pronounced that wrong. But they did some wicked development over the last few years, and they've managed to use the DTML input, which is a safety feature for US vehicles, to scale both the ignition and the fuel tables. Now, the DTML input is just a 0 to 5 volt input on the DME, so I can connect, well, hopefully I'll be able to connect my Fuelit analyzer into that input, get the right modules on MHD loaded, and with any luck, we should be running proper flex fuel. It's something I wanted to do forever. I actually played around with this late last year. I made my own ethanol analyzer, but that was before I sort of went crazy with the build to where it is. And it's something that I spoke to JSR about when I first inquired about the tune, and he said, yeah, no worries, we'll be able to get the flex fuel, and he emailed me the flex tune yesterday, so I need to get onto it. So I'll just show you quickly. Now this is the analyzer I made last year. It was an Arduino. I programmed it myself, and it did work. I managed to get ethanol readings into an MHD data logging, well, into MHD, so the DME was seeing the ethanol content. But I ended up sort of ditching it in the pursuit of crazy power, and that's sort of what's happened with that. One thing that I was struggling with when I was playing with it last year was getting the ethanol reading to come up on the JB4. Now, I actually spoke to Terry about that, and he did send me some test firmware for the JB4, but just didn't have any luck getting it working. Pushed it to the side, and yeah, then hybrid turbos happened. So hopefully today we'll have a bit better luck. Now, in case you have never seen in an ECU box, this one is jam-packed, and it's mainly because of the JB4. The JB4 obviously intercepts the normal DME connectors, so that one there, they're all what would normally be down deep and actually in there connected to the DME. These red little patch panels and black wires there, they are the JB4 connectors. Now, one thing that is a bit of a benefit is to hook up this flex wire to the DME. I don't need to take the DME out of its main box down there. I can just plug it into this connector here. Now this is the X6002 connector, I think it is, and I need to plug my wire into pin 16, and that's where I had it last year. Now this white wire is the signal wire coming from the ethanol analyzer, which is actually under the car on the Fuelit system. But yeah, so basically I just need to remove this wire here. That wire there goes to the JB4 for the signal, so I'm going to cut that, add a little connector wire on there that's got a pin on it, and slide it straight in there. So I'll get that wired up, and then we'll connect to the car and see if we can get the flex signal coming up at the DME. Okay, so I've patched on this wire, which is getting a bit multicolored, but this wire here has got the correct pin on it to connect to an original JB4 connector. Now this JB4 connector, I've got a spare JB4 magically. So I've used one of those pins from that wiring harness because I know they're going to plug into this and work perfectly. But I've also now got a quick disconnect at this end. So if I want to reconnect it back to the JB4 for whatever reason, if I ditch flex fuel, I've got that option there. So this basically just needs to go into pin 16, which is 3 pins in from the end. That locked in. So that's the wiring side of it done. We can go into the car now and see if we get a flex signal. Actually, no, that's not right. I've got to load the correct map onto the DME, and then we can see if we get a flex signal. Let's get on with it. Okay, so we're going to load the flex map. Now, one thing I'm not sure of is whether... give me 2 seconds, we'll get the car connected. Okay, so as I was saying, yeah, I'm going to load the flex map. Now, I'm not 100% sure if I load it as a back-end flash or as a normal flash. I'm going to try it as a back-end flash, and I'll give you guys an update once we're underway. So the flash is underway. Unfortunately, I had to give my borrowed Wi-Fi MHD dongle back, so I'm just doing it with the cable. It's going to be a 20-minute flash. We'll let it go through, and then we'll see if we get some flex readings. So it's just doing the DME resets, success, turn off ignition, and wait 30 seconds. So I'll wait 30 seconds, and normally I'll wait for a few minutes and let the car fully shut down, but I want to see if we're getting a reading on the flex in MHD. So instead of waiting my full 35 minutes, I'm just going to try it again shortly. I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so I've got MHD connected through the gauges, and we can see that we now have voltage coming into the ethanol content analyzer. I want to change that to E85 contents. Okay, so we have encountered an issue. So because of... Right. Basically, and now I had read about this, the motive for flex fuel uses a different voltage output than what the fuel-lit one does. So even though I've got E60 in the tank, MHD is seeing it as 100% ethanol content. All right, I'm going to have to do a bit more research, and I'll let you know what I come to in regards to a result with that one. What I am going to do in the meantime is disconnect MHD, which I can do pretty quickly. Dunk. I'll turn the car back off, and I'll see if we can get the ethanol content reading on the JB4. So let the car go to sleep again. Okay. Oh, that's that one. Okay. So we're going to connect. And it shows 100% E85, which is what MHD shows. So we have an issue with the voltage on that. All right, I might email Terry and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so initially I flashed the map as a back-end flash, and I noticed after I turned the camera off that my fuel pressure low was actually reading 147 PSI, which is quite optimistic. It's doing it again. Okay, so I don't know what causes that. So we're getting an incorrect fuel pressure reading, and we're also getting 100% E85. Now I think the 100% E85 is coming from the fuel-lit ethanol analyzer voltage output, because I remember reading about it last year. I've got a feeling the fuel-lit output's 0 to 5 volts, where the motive ethanol analyzer, output 0 to 3 volts. Now I just want to double check, because I've still obviously got the fuel lit sensor in there. We'll just connect to that. Yeah, so the car has still got, oh well, obviously it's still got, the car's still got E60 in it, but for some reason, well, it's not for some reason, it's the voltage thing. Okay, so I just flashed it again with using an actual custom flash option instead of the JB4 back-end flash. Yeah, and now I noticed that before. For some reason, my fuel pressure is reading 147 psi, which is slightly optimistic. So we have got 100% E85 showing on the JB4s, which is also showing on the MHD monitoring, but the fuel pressure is correct on the MHD monitoring. So something weird is happening in the link up with them at the moment. I'm going to have to end this video off here with, unfortunately, some, well, nothing useful for you guys, but maybe you guys can be helpful for me. If anyone's set up the Fuel-It E85 analyzer into the MHD flex fuel, please let me know. Now I know that Terry from BMS is doing it. I know he's got a few guys that have done it, but it's hard to get any info on it because it's not been officially released to the public yet. So if anybody knows how to make the Fuel-It sensor or analyzer work with MHD, please let me know in the comments below. I'm going to shoot an email off to Terry. JSR said he has set up a few JB4 cars who have used the Motive analyzer. But I'll let him know how it's gone. I haven't started the car, and I'm not going to start the car on this flash until we've got the correct readings on both MHD and the JB4. So unfortunately, guys, it's a bit of a fail video. I do apologise. Hopefully my brakes will turn up tomorrow, and that'll be a bit more exciting. And maybe I can give you a bit of an update tomorrow on what's happened with the flex setup as well. But for now, I'm going to leave it where it is. Bollocks. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.